Welcome to the Scarf Bergara War, proudly sponsored by the Players Entrance at Covent Garden Cafe and the Royal Oak Edgeley.
Oh, great flick on by Alan Armstrong. Oh, what a beauty! Oh, what a beauty! I waited all my life for that. What a screamer! An absolute screamer!
Hello, Nick Lee coming at you like Cleopatra with the second of our isolation specials. You're listening to the Scarf Bergara War, the podcast by the fans, for the fans. And welcome to episode number 300,034,974,000. Being played for one night only by Michael Sheen, it's County Ladies goalkeeping coach and all-round good egg, Russ Johnson. You alright, Russ?
Hello, you alright?
I can see you, it's great this. Brilliant. What a time to be alive, we truly are living in the future. Now, he's been advised that the best thing to do during lockdown is binge watch box sets. He's up to 1972 of the news. It's Memories correspondent Dave Espley.
Hello.
Right, Dave?
How are you doing? All right?
Oh, it's all happening. Great stuff. Now, those of you who follow our Twitter, at County Podcast, in case you're wondering, will be aware of the Cult Heroes 11 we were doing. Russ, you were the brains behind it, so I've got one question for you. Where the fuck is Big Kev?
It's funny, isn't it? Because we did actually get asked that, didn't we? Unbelievable, we got asked that.
Several times.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, we did a Cult Hero Best 11, and the whole thing about the Cult Hero Best 11 was the Best 11 from the club's all-time Best 11 were exempt from it. You couldn't vote for those. And then I did quite a long thread on Twitter about what I believe to be a cult hero. We'd obviously discussed it on the last podcast as well. I reckon 80% of the people voting didn't read that thread or understand what a cult hero was.
No.
I might be doing people an injustice there. So if you think you do know what a cult hero is, consider yourself in that 20%. But yeah, I think it just got lost. And yeah, I mean, I would say, the team that came out was really, really good. I just think, you could, every single one of them, I would say, could be a cult hero. I just think when people were voting, it felt like they were voting who was the best player of that particular vote.
Yeah.
And they were just going with what was in front of them and not considering that, well, Big Kev isn't there, but who is my next best cult hero? So, yeah. But it was an opinion poll. It was a bit of fun. And hopefully nobody took it too seriously.
I think we had a decent 11, didn't we?
The thing I took from it was good to see 3 current players in there.
Yeah.
Because I think when it comes to the all-time votes, obviously, if you look at what the players in the all-time team did, that the club did, then they all deserve to be in there. But to have Minihan, Lloyd and Turnbull in there, especially Paul Turnbull, is it 3 or 4 spells with the club? Like, was in the Wembley team at such a young age.
Well, that's it. And
because I don't think he gets the credit he deserves.
No, and Sam Minihan as well. I got a few comments back on Twitter to say, well, was there only Sean Connolly and Sam Minihan at the club in terms of right backs, and started to reel off a load of other ones? Well, no, there wasn't. But when you look at what Sam Minihan's done in terms of what we were asking for as a cult hero, I think he absolutely fits the bill.
Yeah.
So, if we just go through the 11, you just comment away really. Neil Edwards. Don't think we can probably argue with that. There was an argument for Alan Ogley and a few others that some I'd not heard of, some I had. Sam Minihan at right back.
I can sort of get the Alan Ogley argument in terms of, it's this thing again about how do you define cult in the cult hero, but in terms of the fact that he was a short arse, and he was a short arse who was right in there at the start of our fantastic 90s decade. I think Neil Edwards, epitomises. The cult thing for me, it needs to be something a bit out of the ordinary, a bit different, a bit. It's like, I think I said at one point, it's like you could almost define it by saying he gets counter, he gets the club, he gets what we're about. And I think Neil Edwards is a cracking choice personally. Yeah, I would have accepted Alan Ogley absolutely if he'd have won the vote instead. But I don't think there's any. It's not detrimental to say Neil Edwards is the keeper in that cult 11.
Although Neil Edwards couldn't save penalties, as we'll see in the issue of the Tea Party that we will be coming to later
that's
on.
A good point.
Sam Minion at right back, and again, there's people have got their own opinions, but I think he absolutely fits the bill. I can't name another good right back. I mean, Smith, who played in the the fact that I can't remember his first name, even though it was replayed on last Saturday. I mean, name another right back. I mean, you probably can name some, but in terms of cult hero status,
I'm just stuck here with Andy Halls, me. That's it. And that's no good to anyone.
Well, that's it. And I think we are a victim of sort of Twitter and the people on Twitter and the demographic that listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
I think we've got a good age range in terms of the presenters, but in terms of the listeners, when I've looked at the demographics on some of the tools that we've got, we're talking about men aged between 30 and 45. So, do you know what I mean? You're gonna get these people coming through. Left back Michael Rose. I've got no argument with that either.
With his magic toes.
Number 4, Tony Dinning.
Absolutely, yeah.
So scored the pen away at City. Came back for a second spell. Was captain on his second spell as well. So yeah. Ashley Williams.
I mean, look at what he's gone on to achieve since then.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
Bill Williams.
Again.
Before
another one
time.
like Neil Edwards.
I can't
for me, he's another one from like Neil Edwards, who was in at the start of the Bergara years. I'm not sure. I think Bergara probably did buy him. I'm not sure that he was here under what's his name? Who was Bergara's predecessor? Sixth City player. He's
Hartford.
But whatever. Bill Williams was an essential part of that first Bergara team. And Bergara had about three really good teams that did different things in different eras. And Bill Williams was part of that, and similar to Neil Edwards.
Then we got Louis Cavaco. So, all right, he played for us for what? 8 months? Something like that. But, he's... I don't think there could be any argument for Louis Cavaco. I went to Newquay on holiday age 15 and bought a Portugal shirt just because Louis Cavaco played for us. So, that's the kind of cult hero you're looking for, isn't it?
It's also the fact he signed at a time like after Euro '96 when everyone was bringing in these foreign imports, and you thought that was just for the Premier League, and then we went and brought one in of our own, and then he turned out to be absolute quality.
Yeah.
And as we said before, the only man to dispossess Julian Dix and tell the tale.
Yeah. Then we got Paul Turnbull, and again, he's not going to be in the best 11, but. Like you say, 3 spells with the club?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, he's been back on loan. He's had 2 permanent spells, yeah.
Captain, joint captain when we won at the playoffs with Gaz Owen. Captain when we won National League North. If that's not a cult hero, then I don't know what is, really.
He's very much... I think Paul Turnbull is to Jim what Nico Cranchar and Peter Crouch are to Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, player he can trust.
It's just, I mean, bring him in, yeah, get the band back together.
Yeah. Do you know what though? Just for Paul Turnbull, I can see Paul Turnbull being at this club for a long, long time. I don't mean never necessarily playing, but I know he does the community stuff now, and he's probably going to be a youth coach, and I bet he'll work his way up. That's what I can see for Paul Turnbull.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? I think he gets unfairly criticised, I think, by a certain section of our fans. There seems to be people who just want him gone or don't want him in the team. But I said earlier in the season, I think he's strongest when he's playing as the ball-winning midfielder. If you've got him and Jordan Keane in the team together, I don't think you see the best of him. But if he's the ball winner, then he does a good job. I think he's more than good enough for this league and possibly the one above as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the one above. Definitely he's good enough for this league, but I think.
Oh, not week in, week out.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, and I think I said, is it the end of Paul Turnbull, which probably came out wrong. What I meant was he's good enough for this league. He's probably not quite got it for the league above, but if we start getting players in that are ready for the league above, because that's where we want to go, then he might find himself drifting out. And that's not to say that he's on the scrap heap. Like I've just said, I think he will be at the club for a long, long time, and he's probably a good candidate. So quote me now to be a future manager who gets county. He knows and he gets county. I mean, what is he? He's about your age, is he?
30, 31,
Yeah,
I think.
about your age, Nick.
Oh, don't say that, because I mean, I must just say I am well and truly on the scrap heap. He's not, so more power to him.
It's that phrase again, though, isn't it? Gets county. I think it comes up again and again with these cult heroes. Gets county. Look at Bill Williams' Twitter feed. He's talking about county and mentioning us quite regularly there. So you get these players who Lee Todd is another one. We talked last time, didn't we, about Chris Beaumont? And you saw that picture of you, Nick, on the pitch at Nuneaton. These people get county, and I think that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah.
And when they turn out to be like lifelong county fans, that's what more can you ask for, really? They probably weren't county fans before. I think Paul Turnbull probably was, but and on Football Manager, I look for that. I go, who's the favourite club? Is it County? Please be good enough to sign for us. So, number 9's Luke Beckett. And again, I don't think there's much argument there. 10 was Brett Angel, and 11 Danny Lloyd. So, I mean, what you could argue with it is that this is a team who are picked from exactly what our demographic is.
Yeah.
And people who were watching County possibly in the 70s and 80s, as you were, Dave, because I know you mentioned some of the players. I noticed the players that you added to it, and some of the others, they weren't getting votes at all because there's people that it's a Twitter vote. They're not these people aren't on Twitter, are they?
Yeah,
so maybe it wasn't fair in that respect.
It's always, if you've got a vote like this, which is over technology essentially, you're always going to get a massive bias towards current, contemporary players. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
It didn't help that I was putting them in the wrong positions, as Phil Brennan pointed out to us.
No one seemed all that bothered, Dave.
I wasn't because I just wanted to get him in, so it meant playing Terry Park in goal. That's what it took.
Yeah. As long as he's in.
Yeah, there was a bit of that, wasn't there? Like Terry Park. Well, wasn't he a left winger or Kill? I think we had Kilder on the right, and someone said he's a left winger.
But he was just getting him in.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, he was on the left wing when he scored that goal, so
that's what people remember. But probably I don't know. Anyway, but it's there now. It's in writing. It's been voted for. It's on our website as a dedicated page, so for people to look at. I know Bill Williams did reply because I did tag some of the ones that got in there. So Bill Williams replied. Michael Rose liked it. Sam replied. I think Sam replied in his Q&A as well. Sam Minion.
Cool. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good lad.
It's interesting to me, just looking at that team, got it in front of me now. You've got there's like two types of player. There's a kind of player who is unlucky to have missed out in the best 11 ever, and there's probably a handful of those. And then there are those players who, for whatever other reason which we've been struggling to define, are cult heroes. Because I mean, Brett Angel, you could argue, was almost in the best 11.
Yeah.
Possibly Dan Lloyd, Ashley Williams, Bill Williams, and then you've got others who maybe probably wouldn't make a second 11 of the best players, might not even make a third 11 of the best players, but they've just got something to get counties, as we've said before.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's up to everybody to have their own cult hero 11, I guess, once they understand what a cult is.
Yeah, because that's it is unique to everyone. We were just putting a vote out there to see what the general consensus was, but I mean, we're not saying, well, if you don't rate any of them players, you've not got a clue. well, we are saying that a bit. I mean, there's certain players in there that I think have been unfairly maligned. But yeah, it's I did like the fact that the club kind of recognised, because I know you did ask the club's permission to do it first, just to check if it was all right if we did it, in case they were planning on something.
Yeah,
similar.
it wasn't permission. It was more.
Yeah, I know
it was more
mean,
like, you know, have you got this planned? Because we want to do it. So if you've got it planned, we won't. Basically, but they said no, we've got enough to do. Yeah. You crack on. So and they did share it for us as well.
But it was really good to see the club getting involved with it and actually pitting it against the all-time 11, which was good.
Yes, that was good. Yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, me heart ruled me head on that one, so I voted for the cult 11 because we did the vote. But you know, if I was using my head, then the best 11 beats it every day, I think.
Yeah. I voted for the best 11, but then I got my missus to go on and vote for the cult one just to just to even it out. So I felt like I'd done my bit for the podcast. Because I do fuck all for this podcast, so I thought I might as well get the missus to do something for me.
Depending on how long we're locked down, could we set up some kind of when you're doing FIFA, can you create teams? Can you sort of create your own players and create your own teams? Could we set up a game? Or is that just going to be?
They've made it really hard on FIFA now, but I think I might have to get it on the go. I think we should get young, you know, Akito, the Japanese county fan. He's like a professional FIFA player. He's one of the best FIFA players in Japan. So I think we should get him to do it.
Yeah, good shout. But what about FM? That might be good. You just get into the editor and start building take a while, that.
I've actually just got onto Football Manager Mobile. I don't have the time. Well, I don't have a proper laptop, so I can't play the full game. But it's a young man's game anyway, the full one. I don't have the time for it. But I'm pleased to announce I've led County all the way from the conference to with the top of League One by 10 points at the moment. And I've still got Festus Arthur and Sam Minihan still mainstays in the team as well. So that's something.
It's a young man's game, the full one.
It is. I play. It is. I can't. I don't have the time for it
all the time.
As much as I love it, I'm only saying that so I've got an excuse because I've not got a laptop for it. So that's literally it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm 3 years off fulfilling Mark Stott's thing of what is it, championship by 2027? He said.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm in January 25 and we're top of League One, so yeah, fucking eat that, Jim Gannon.
Well, I'm in. I can bet you on that. I'm in on the young man's game. I'm 2022. I'm in the playoffs in League One.
Nah. Oh, you're ahead of me then. It took me 3 seasons to get out of the conference.
Did it?
Yeah, I lost to Fylde in the playoff final.
And you didn't get sacked? I'd have sacked you.
Then they only wanted to stay up, and then the following year I lost to Ebbsfleet in the playoff final, which is even more depressing. Just didn't have that big game mentality.
Doesn't enjoy big games.
yeah, that's it.
Question for you both. If you could recreate one sporting moment and be there doing it yourself, what would it be? Russ?
Winning putt in the 1992 Open Championships to replicate Nick Faldo.
Golf then?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, not my thing. But you, Dave?
Well, I'm a Tory, as you well know, so I go and watch cricket. And I was there along with John Billsbury, friend of the podcast, the Tea Party podcast, and we were both there when Ben Stokes hit the winning runs in the Headingley Test on that famous Sunday a couple of months ago. So I would recreate that. Even
I watched that. I'm going to have to go for a county moment now, then, aren't I? Top of my head, Glenn Taylor's header for Spennymoor against Chorley, all the way.
Get in.
So why have you asked us that, Ernie?
Because it's a little message from our new sponsors, the Players Entrance in Mersey Stockport, where you can go and recreate many sporting moments.
And it's run by a county fan. And it's got Darren Stevenson on the wall. There's a mural of Darren Stevenson on the wall.
Doing an overhead kick, I believe.
Doing an overhead kick.
I'm going to get on for it. I don't want him doing that. Was he actually doing an overhead kick like as a model for the picture?
I don't know. The picture I've seen with him, he's got his broken leg, or whatever he's done.
Maybe that's how he broke it.
Maybe.
Just to mention the club again, though, as well. I mean, they continued with some of the superb content that they've been putting out on social media, haven't they? You know.
Yeah, it's great.
It really is good, and we're trying to. I wouldn't say keep up with them in any respect, but we're trying to do these podcasts, aren't we, and get stuff out. So no, fair play to them. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, they've got all the social media stuff. The live streams on a Saturday afternoon. And then the County Live podcast as well, got interviews with ex-players and what have you. So yeah, it's good to have some county content coming up. Cause I've noticed a lot of clubs it's just radio silence at the moment. Notts County put a statement out yesterday saying they were relaying the pitch. So, cheers, lads. Nice one.
Well, I know Oldham. I mean, Oldham are in big trouble anyway, but their managing director basically came out and said she was the only one working at the club, and there would be no media whatsoever going out, so kind of don't expect any until further notice. You know, but then you've got our guys, you know, putting stuff out and doing lots on the Saturday afternoon, and I do wonder whether we'd have been like this pre-Mark Stott. I think would have been.
I think under the previous ownership, I think social media was definitely all the the content and whatever. It was on its way up again, but it certainly wasn't up to the level it is right now. I certainly don't think we'd have been getting the live streaming on a Saturday.
No.
But it'd be interesting. What games would you two like to see being live streamed that they've not shown yet?
Southampton away.
Yeah, Southampton away. Man City at home.
Yeah.
97 for me.
Yeah,
I'd
that'd be a
love
good
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the 2-1 City game, the Hardiker game. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, just any game where we beat the Gorton Globetrotters.
Well, anything from 96, 97. You could stream any of those games, or well, not any of them, but you know, there's quite a few games in there, either on the cup run games or just the league games. You know, the Chesterfield game.
Yeah,
it's only 1-0. You know, with a goal after about 5 minutes, and then 85 minutes of holding out. But it'd be great to watch.
Well, I've only ever seen the Brett Angel goal from that game. That's it. I've never seen any of the reaction at the end of the game or anything.
Really?
No, that's because I didn't go. I was at school the next morning. I was to listen to it.
I was not with that one. I actually went, obviously. But apparently Sky Sports News, they had a camera there, and they were focused on Dave Jones. You know, for the last few minutes, they couldn't show the game because obviously with the rights issues and all that kind of stuff. But they basically had a camera focused on the dugout, and it must exist somewhere. The last couple of minutes of just a close up of Dave Jones, and then the final whistle going and all the celebrations. Yeah,
that'd be great to see.
Nice if someone could dig that out.
You know, I'd like to see a complete rerun of the United game that we lost 2-1, because in between watching A Place in the Sun and Bargain Brits Abroad in Benidorm last week when I was off, I was watching the big match revisited. They've been repeating them on BT Sport, you know, from the 60s, 70s, and some from the 80s as well. But yes, some of those games, that'd be a really good one if we could get that streamed. You know, the Terry Park one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because there is footage of that out there. Was it? I think it was a director who filmed it.
What happened was, I was at that game as well, and it was like I've written about it various places in the fanzine, particularly, and it was you cannot overstate how incredible it was, both in terms of the performance we put out, because we literally did play them off the park, and the nature of the result, because we were went one down, half time, we played them off the park but we were one down. It was bizarre. You know, we could have been 3-1 up easily and it wouldn't have been unfair. All the United fans in the bogs at half time, because I was in amongst United fans mainly, were saying, bloody hell, we're like, what's going on here? Who's the first division team and all this jazz? Then we come back and take a 2-1 lead. Then they have a player sent off. There's 5 minutes left with 2-1 up at Old Trafford, and then they get 2 incredibly dodgy goals to win it. So the narrative of the game, let alone the fact that we almost beat United at Old Trafford, the narrative of the entire game was fantastic. And what happened was, for years afterwards, this was 78, so I'd have been 14 when it went, and for years and years afterwards, I used to think, oh God, if only there was film of that game, I could prove to people how good we were. You know, I could prove to people what really happened, because as time passes, people think, oh, you're just talking out your ass. It wasn't that good. You nearly, you were well beaten. And then it was what it was. It was when they were putting the history DVD together, I think, that they discovered that Freddie Pye apparently had taken a Super 8 camera with him, and he was in the director's box, front row, and he propped it on the retaining wall in front, and basically just filmed the game on a Super 8 camera. So there was no sound. Which would probably, even if we could get hold of the entire footage, would probably preclude being able to do a stream of it. But suddenly there was film of this game that I could only remember from 20 odd, as it was then, years ago. And it's funny, I've mentioned before that for me, when Terry Park got the second goal, he dispossessed the United player well in his own half. In fact, he was just outside the United area, and your brain tells you something that you want it to have been like that rather than it actually was. But it was so amazing to see the footage of that game, and I think I actually stripped it from the. I've got the DVD on the shelf here behind me somewhere, but I stripped it out and put it on YouTube, and it's on YouTube there. The crucial bits towards the end of the game where where we were cheated, basically.
Yeah. So the game wasn't actually filmed by anybody apart from.
No.
So it wasn't filmed by ITV or anything like that, or BBC. Or...
I got back that night because I'd actually gone with a mate of my dad's who had a spare ticket, and that's how I managed to get there. And he dropped me off at home, and the midweek highlights from Granada were, I don't know, Watford against somebody down south. It was a different game that they'd shown, but they actually introduced and I always remember this, it was Brian Moore. They introduced the highlights with welcome to the big match, whatever it's called, the League Cup highlights on ITV, and nowhere was the drama more exciting than up at Old Trafford. And basically, he spent the first few minutes talking about the game they weren't going to be showing because it was so incredible what had happened up the road at Old Trafford. I mean, these days, obviously, every game gets filmed and we'd have had a permanent record of it. But in those days, they'd highlights of a game down south, which finished, 1-0 to Watford or something. And he spent the first 5 minutes of the programme talking about what we'd done at Old Trafford. It was astonishing, really.
Because that was the last time we played United as well, wasn't it? There's been nothing in recent memory since then. I think the reserves played them in the Cheshire Senior Cup or something, or something like that at some point. But
we've played FC United, which of course is nothing like the real United, as their fans always point out via their chants.
No association to them whatsoever.
They're still United fans. They're just not United customers. Is what one said to
me. But I've noticed with the club's social media content last few weeks, some of the goals they've been showing, they've been obviously they've had a goal of the day each day, and there's been a lot of goals from the late 90s that I've not seen since I was there at the time. So that Kevin Cooper one against Tranmere, we'll talk more about goals shortly, but that Kevin Cooper one against Tranmere, for years I've been telling people about that goal, saying it was absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant. He just cut in from the right, and it was exactly how I remembered it. Maybe a bit closer to goal than I remembered. Because obviously I do that thing. I remember Ashley Williams scoring. I know everyone goes on about Ashley Williams' goal against Rochdale away, but I remember him scoring one at home to MK Dons from about 25 yards out. So at the game, 25 yards out, he banged it in. And then on my way home, I'm like, oh, did you see that 30-yarder? Did you see that 30? And then by the time I've got home, it's like 40 yards. He scored from 40 yards, and it just gets longer and longer.
But I think I replied to that one, Nick, that tweet that you'd mentioned that. Saying that, was that 97-98, the first year in the Championship? That year,
it was,
we scored some incredible goals. We obviously had the Paul Cook against City one, the one you've mentioned. But there were so many fantastic team goals as well, where we got the ball in our own half, and we were playing such good football at the time, that like 3 passes later, it was in the net at the other end. And I'd love to see a top, say, 15 or 20 goals of that season, because I think it was one of the best seasons ever for actual goals. Season before was the best season ever for what we achieved and all the rest of it. But in terms of pure quality of goals, 97-98 I think was the best we've ever seen.
Do you think that's because you have to score quality goals at that level, and you've got quality players as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you've got to. It's almost like you don't see many scrappy goals, I don't think, in the Championship and above.
I don't know. Have you watched Sunderland Till I Die?
No, I haven't. But yeah, it's okay. Point taken.
I think you're right. There's something about it though, because I think we just had such good players. I mean, we had the nucleus of the team, even though we'd lost 3 or 4 players. We still had the nucleus of that team because Alan Armstrong didn't leave until about the February or something. For at least half of that year, we had Alan there leading the line. We had people like Tony Dinning stepping up, who'd been like a squad player the previous year. We had Coops, who joined us towards the end of the previous year and became a full team player. And I just think we just had a fantastic team, as was proven by the fact we finished 8th in the Championship.
Yeah, I think that's why we've done so well this season, because it's mostly last season's team. And once you've got that momentum and that connection between the players, then the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, you've just got to keep on add into it. Don't have an overhaul of turnover of players. Once you've got that nucleus and you've found that that winning mentality and that click, you just one goes out, one comes in. If he's got the right mentality, you just keep on building it that way. And that's what you can see. That's what Jim Gannon's doing.
Yeah, it's what I've always said. If it's funny enough, I was going to say with a sort of laugh, if we ever get into the position where we were challenging for the Premier League like we did in 97, 98, you never know, might happen again. we can but dream. But if you did get into the Premier League as a team like us, Bradford did it the wrong way. Bradford thought, we've got 150 million quid, let's buy him. What you should do is basically just keep the same team that got you there, because if you get into a league above with a particular set of players, that set of players should be enough to survive at the very least in that league, because the very fact they got up there means they're good enough to be in that league almost, if you see what I mean. So when I
that's exactly what Bournemouth did.
But when I've always said, like, the 96-97 team, you could have picked us up and dropped us in the Premier League and we'd have survived. We might have been lower table, but we'd have survived. So there's no need, if you get into the Premier League as a team that perhaps doesn't necessarily belong in there in terms of history, size of ground, size of crowd or whatever, you don't go mad. Just like take up what Russ said earlier, keep your nucleus of your team there, bring in a couple of additions in particular where you need strengthening, and you'll probably survive at least, if not thrive.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
And it may well become something we have to think about in the next 10 or 15 years.
As we said before, I'd take one season or two, mate.
Yeah, we're not greedy, are we?
It's just absolutely bonkers even talking about it. To be
no.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, what do you two think should happen with the rest of this season? Then, obviously, with us being, because the news has come out today that I think 10 clubs I think there's 24 clubs in our league voting, and then 4 from the National League North and 4 from the South, all involved in the vote. And apparently 10 clubs have voted to just end the season and scrap it, whereas the others seem to be undecided. I'd imagine we're one of the one. I think it's either 4 or 6 teams who voted to actually continue the season and get it finished. And I'd imagine we'll be one of them.
Yeah.
What would you like to see happening really with that? I mean, I know we might be biased because we're with a chance of getting promoted at the moment.
Yeah. There's a couple of elements to it really. I mean, there's the one that I think is quite relevant in that with the World Cup being where it is, the next World Cup, we do have a sort of window of opportunity. If we were to finish this current season, it took us till November, for example, and then you had a pre-season break and then started a new season in December, well, that's fine because that season could finish in September 22 ahead of the World Cup, and then you could sort of gradually pull it back over the years to come. But
that's exactly it for me.
There's another issue which I think might be at the forefront of a lot of clubs' minds, and that's the sheer finances of it. You know, if we do say that we're not going to start a new season in September, we're going to in August or whatever, we're just going to play this new one whenever. I know friend of the podcast Dave Schofield has pointed out that it could mean a lot of clubs just go to the wall, and you know everybody's going to vote with their own self-interest foremost, obviously, because that's.
I wonder which way Fylde and Chorley voted.
Well, that was going to be my point. I bet the 10 that have voted to scrap it now are the bottom 10.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, bottom 10 and Brexit shitholes. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, I've had a bit more of a think about it, and I'm all for the points per game.
I'm not, because we won't be in the
and that's
playoffs.
fine. And I think I said last time on the last podcast, our future's sorted. So I don't mind not going up this season or getting into the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever happens, this season has been a resounding success. By Christmas we were safe. You know, we've blooded the noses of some of the teams who were expected to absolutely piss that league, the likes of Wrexham and Fylde. You know, they're expected to be top 2, them two, and we've beat both of them. So whatever people say, this season's been a success, and if it does end up going to the stage where we're writing it off, I just think the whole null and void argument, making the season null and void, that opens up the opportunity for Bury. The likes of Bury could easily challenge that in a court of law and say, well, we were kicked out of the league in a season that's now been declared void, so we should be allowed back in. So it's going to open that back up.
I think bury the fly in the ointment of any plan really, because whatever decision you make, there is that hanging over it. That Berry will immediately come along and say, "Hang on a minute, what about us?"
Yeah, I think that changes it all.
But I think it's interesting that if we did declare it null and void, and regardless of whatever happens to Berry, we started again with this team and these other teams against us. Well, you look at what we've achieved now. I think that's the base point. I think anything that if this season started again with the same clubs in it, I think we would be looking at where we are now as the baseline, and we could only progress on from that. So I think a restarted season with these clubs, I genuinely think we could be looking to finish, at the top.
Because I don't even think. I mean, there's the argument that Fylde were resounding favourites to win the league at the start of the season, and then they had shit form under Challenger, sacked him, and they've had shit form under Bentley. So I don't think that'd change. So don't worry, Russ. Fylde will still go down. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, innit? I mean, I know we talk about teams going up and down and things, but you've got to think of the other aspect as well, which is players and their livelihoods, if you like. So I know the Chester manager was on Twitter saying, "Well, what do we do with player contracts? Because they're all up in end of April or end of June. So what do we know? Where do we stand on that? Because these clubs aren't getting money in, so we're in a real pickle, really, aren't we? And it's all going to be on case by case basis, I think. Yeah. And that's why I think the points per game is the best scenario in my opinion, because it keeps everything running as close to normal as possible. If you null and void it, you start introducing questions. But at least with points per game, you can say, well, the evidence is that's how many points per game you've been getting over the season. So that's the best. It's the best estimate of what you're going to finish on. Null and void opens it up to, well, there's too many unanswered questions. Plus, you do get with the points per game, you get a clean close of a season, and contract negotiations can start to happen from that standpoint.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, definitely. I can't argue with that at all, really. No. As much as I'd love to, but I think at the end of the day, going up this season might not be the best idea for us, really.
Yeah, well, that presents its own problems, doesn't it? If we go up this season, we're going up early with a team that, if we're honest with ourselves, it is not going to do well in League Two.
And still as a part-time club as well, we've not made the switch to full-time yet.
So say if we went up, then to do well, you've got to have a low to medium turnover in players, and that's when you start to lose the nucleus of it and the winning mentality. It's a bit risky, I think. Unless you throw a load of money on it, you get lucky at a load of players, and then you end up like Middlesbrough in '97, or you end up like a Portsmouth, where it is just players cobbled together, and it's not a team. And I don't want to see a county team like that. I want to see a county team like they are now, growing and growing.
Agreed.
Right, home game coming up. Where we're going? What's your pre-match plan?
Usually Bobby Peel for me.
Phil, what about you, Dave?
Well, as we've already established, I'm a Tory, so I'll just bring G&T from home and drink it in the back of the car.
What about you?
Where are you going? Bobby Peel?
Yeah.
How many tellies have we got?
5, I think.
Oh, mate, you're not going to believe this. You want to get down to the Royal Oak.
Why? What's so good about the Royal Oak?
We've got tellies, we've got big tellies, we've got small tellies, we've got tellies when you're ordering a drink, we've got tellies when you're having a piss, they've got tellies when you're having a cig outside. Tellies!
Aside from that, it's a really good place to go before the match, and alcohol is also available.
So what we're thinking of doing, I say thinking, we're doing it whether you like it or not.
We're doing it, God damn it.
We're going to do firstly, big shout out to Ben Walker, of a friend of the podcast, of Stockport County Shirt Collection, who ran the World Cup of County shirts over on his Facebook page, and the Goaler shirt one with the blue shirt with the red and white flecks. So we're going to do the World Cup of County goals. Over on, I think we'll do it on Twitter rather than Facebook. Cause
I thought you said Facebook. I thought you were going to do it on Facebook.
Oh, I don't know. Have you seen some of the people on Facebook these days? have you seen it over there, Russ? I mean, you've only come back to it this week.
I know.
Nah, mate. I think we'll stick to Twitter. I
Okay.
don't mind running it because you did all the hard yards with the last one, so I'll run it and what have you. But yeah, just stay away from Facebook.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
what
have
we're
come
looking
back
to
on it.
get-
I have come back on it.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed. I got a little notification. Russ Johnson liked your post. I was like, oh, he's back, is he?
Oh, he's back.
We're all in back, have you? Yeah.
Yeah,
fuck all to do,
450
lockdown.
friends later. I just went down my list of friends
nice.
going unfriend because you end up with loads of friends, don't you? That they're not actually your friend. You don't speak to them in the street. They're just on your Facebook as friends, and it's just
I'm friends with
fucking
Akito
ridiculous.
now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, me and Akito, we're like that.
yeah.
Right, so yes, we're back in the room. Goals is what we're after. So to you, dear listener, we want your suggestions. We're after the 32 best county goals. Now they can be either great team goals, spectacular goals. If you think it fits, we'll have it in the top 32. And then pit them against each other, have a World Cup. I've got 3 that I'd like to suggest. I don't know if either of you two have got the same ones. So, I'm going chronological with them. So, the first one, I'm going for Louis Cavaco against Southampton, the diving header.
Ooh, good call.
In the home game. That's
Yeah.
still my favourite ever county goal. You can take your Gleesons, you can take your Pilkingtons, and that's my favourite ever county goal. Because I think it came about a minute after the equaliser, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
The equaliser straight from the kick-off. I think it's it was either Lee Todd or Chris Marsden who crossed it in. And everyone loves a diving header as well.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I was saying to you before when we were talking about this, is it great goals you want or just significant goals? And I think that had a bit of both, didn't it? Because, I mean, for me, you could argue Andy Mutcher's tap-in was a great goal. I haven't chosen it because I think what we agreed was we want a bit more than that. We want a goal that's, a better goal, if you see what I mean. In terms of significance, that's one of the most significant that we've ever scored. But I think the Cavaco one, it had the fantastic, because at the time we were playing such good football and no one was surprised. The only surprise probably came in the fact that it was so quick after the equaliser. It's like, oh, bloody hell, we hadn't even sat down, we hadn't even recovered from the equaliser and we've scored again. But the fact that we'd scored a second against Hampton wasn't really that much of a surprise because we were so good at the time. Yeah. And, I totally agree. That goal, because it was a great goal, but it did have the significance as well, which sort of elevates it a bit higher.
My second one, I'm going for... In fact, County actually shared it today as a goal of the day. Scott Spencer against Chester.
Oh
in
yeah.
the FA Cup. 2013, 14, something like that. It's under Alan Lord. But yeah, I thought at the time as well, that pulled it back to 2 each.
Yeah, we thought it was on, didn't we? We thought we were on for it, didn't we?
That was the game where I think McConville scored a couple against us as well for Chester, which is always upsetting because I hated him.
What was the context? Because I saw the tweet which said it didn't matter in the end, but what was the context? Was it a cup game or league?
We were 2-0 down. Christian Dennis, straight after half-time, made it 2-1. And then Spencer made it 2 each with that goal. And then we lost 4-2 in the end. But it was FA Cup 4th qualifying round.
Oh, right.
It was. But it was one of the few games in that era where there was a cracking atmosphere, there was a fair amount of away fans. And it was one of them games where it started to feel like the old county again. Obviously, it didn't in the end. It was a bit of a false start, really. But it's just one of them goals. It came out of nothing. And so, yeah, that's it. That's in my 3.
Yeah.
And then the third one, it's going to be a controversial one, this, but it's a great goal. Glenn Rule against Nuneaton.
Wow, you have gone millennial with these, haven't you?
Yeah. I just thought, I don't think anyone's going to suggest that Glenn Rule one because it's been forgotten because of the bite and everything and his antics and just the fact that it was a fat waste of space. I think I just remember because it was very Stephen Gleeson-esque. But I remember I was in the away end at Nuneaton, and as the ball dropped out of the air, my mate Chris was sat next to me, and he shouted Gleeson. As the ball dropped, he actually shouted Gleeson, and Rule just hit it, and bang, it was in. Fantastic goal. It's just a shame. Like I said, it was a fat waste of space. So they're the 3 that I think they should be in the top 32. Because I mean, 2 of them certainly are just spectacular goals and nothing else. but they're the type of goals that you know, if they were on match of the day, then they'd be raving about them for months.
Have you got any, Russ, or am I going next?
Age before beauty. Go on, Dave.
No, go on, Dave. You go first. I have got 3, by the way. I had a bit of a think while we were chatting before.
I'm glad I'm next, actually, because I thought there was going to be some overlap with this, but I'm going to flick over my screen so I can see which ones are written down. I'll go again.
You wrote on your screen?
Sorry?
You wrote on your screen?
No, I'm going to flip over my screen. So you're disappearing off my screen at the moment while I look at what I've written down. Right. First goal, I actually mentioned this last time because I had this guy in my Cult Heroes nomination, Eddie Prudham, county player of the late 70s. I think I've told this story before, but we had a shit season. Like, I think it was actually 79 to 80. We had Stuart Lee and Les Brad scoring goals for fun the previous year, but Stuart Lee had gone to America. Les Brad, I think, had probably been sold halfway through the season, and Eddie Prudham, I think, scored most of our goals, certainly towards the end of the season. And I really liked him as a player. I was, what would I have been, about 15 then, so quite an impressionable age. You like these players. I thought, yeah, he'll do for me. And in the last game of the season, we beat Halifax 4-1 at Edgeley Park. And he scored a hat-trick, and his third goal was a cross, I think, from the pop side. It was at the railway end. Cross came over, and he did an overhead kick, which absolutely buried the ball. And at the time, overhead kicks hadn't been invented that long, because you know they're everywhere these days. But overhead kicks, you know, you might see a Brazilian do one once every 3 or 4 years, but this was a county player in Division 4 scoring an overhead kick, and it was absolutely a stunning goal. And I couldn't get over the fact that he scored this hat-trick in the final game, third goal of which was this amazing overhead kick. And what did County do? They released him. He never played another game for us. So that was his last goal for the club, but it was a fantastic goal. I'm not sure whether many people will remember it, because as we've said, you know, with technology, we do have, you know, votes for these kind of things tend to be from a younger audience. So I'm not expecting this to go anywhere beyond round 1, but I'm putting it in anyway. Eddie Prudham.
Well, we'll find some way of recreating it, Skinner and Badil style. I'm sure there's something we can do.
I can do a stickman drawing. If we've got videos of all the others, I'll sort something out.
Do a flip book.
Do a flip book.
Yeah. Because I definitely think, well, I know for a fact my second nomination, we've already talked about it, it's Terry Park against United. Yeah. And it's a bit like your Cavaco goal, Nick, in that it was a good goal, but it was so significant at the time as well, it just elevates it a bit. But I think I mentioned before, in my mind's eye, he took the ball deep into the county half, beat about 3 or 4 players before drawing out Paddy Roach on the corner of the 6-yard box and slotting it under him. In reality, when you see the film, he got the ball halfway into the United's half. Didn't really beat any more than maybe one player, but it was just such a class finish. It was still a great goal because you know, he was confident. He took the ball forward. He slotted it under the keeper. So it does fulfil all the criteria of being a fantastic, great goal. But it's just that extra significance it had because of what it did. It put us 2-1 ahead against United at Old Trafford in a game we had utterly dominated from start to finish.
That image that's been doing the rounds of Terry Park, you know, the photograph of him sort of high in the air.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'd love to have that up on my wall. But I feel like a bit of a fraudster because I wasn't at the match. But you could have that up on your wall, and you could say I was there.
Yeah,
that'd be so. That's so cool. That's such a great.
You can have that up on your wall, and Russ
fan.
can come round and look at it.
Yeah, and drink some of that liquor you've got.
You'd have to fight for space with all my Ben Stokes pictures from Headingley last year because I don't even mention. But yeah, anyway. My third goal is Paul Cook against City. Do I need to say anything more? I will say one thing more. I don't really need to say anything more, but it's a podcast. You have to say stuff. I was literally right behind it because my season ticket at the time was in the Cheadle End lower tier 2 possibly, but over towards the aisle between blocks 1 and 2. So I was behind the ball as he hit it, and you could see it from where I was looking, curve away from the keeper's hands. He caught it so well. He couldn't have hit it better if he'd tried or he'd done it 100 times. And you knew straight away it was in. It was hit so hard. It had rolled out to him across the area. It was just everything about it was fantastic, and I still think it's one of the best goals I've ever seen at Edgeley Park.
Yeah, I think that's a strong contender to win. That is. Yeah, I really do.
That's the one I thought
that'll
be some overlap with you guys, but that's me 3 anyway.
Well, I didn't pick that because I thought one of you two would have. So, yeah.
Funny if none of us did for that reason, and then no
I
one
know,
was on Twitter
yeah.
for that reason, and it doesn't even get anywhere. No, it's in there now.
Excellent. How about you, Russ?
I'm gonna go for. I've got 3 completely different ones to you two guys, which is good.
Good stuff,
I'm
good stuff.
leaving the Stephen Gleeson one completely out of it because I think that's going to be in there anyway. From I think the fact that we've all mentioned it, it's probably going to go far in the competition. So my first one, and I'll go in chronological order as well, is Paul Ware away at Carlisle.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't there, but I bloody wish I was. He curled it with the outside of his right foot, and the build-up play, to be fair, was pretty good as well. Outside of his right foot, and when you see it from behind,
How could it bend that far?
I know, it's just unbelievable. And I think at the time, if memory serves me, it got reruns on Brazilian TV. I remember hearing that. I think it might have said it on the CFAX page. Reruns on Brazilian TV, Paul Ware goal, page 209 or something like that.
You should have shown it to that fraud Pele.
Pele claimed that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably did, yeah.
No, he was too busy volleying cotton wool balls into his hospital bin and claiming them as well. Shithouse.
My second goal is Ian Helliwell against Everton away.
Oh yeah.
Only because again the build-up play, it was Todd to Beaumont, long big cross. Ian Helliwell, I'll probably say, not sure Duncan Ferguson was playing, but he was the tallest man on the pitch probably, and he headed it 2 foot off the ground to beat Neville Southall. And I just thought
one of the best goalkeepers
quality
in the world as well.
Yeah, at the time, yeah. And that one probably sticks with me because that was one of it wasn't my first away game, but it was definitely the first game when I walked up into a ground, and when the pitch, could see the pitch and the Gladys Street end and stuff like that. I just thought, fucking hell,
Wow, yeah.
this is a ground.
Yeah.
I'd been to loads of the grounds in our league at that point when my stepdad. But yeah, I thought that goal's got to make it in. And then my final goal, so you can tell which era I grew up in, is Chris Byrne. Was it away at Wolves?
Yes.
It's
Was
a
it the 4-3 or was it a different
Yeah,
game?
I think it was a 4-3. It was a long range effort, and I just remember him, obviously a baggy kit. Came onto it. I'm not sure about the build-up play. I didn't go. Wasn't sure about the build-up play, but I just remember him rifle it in with his right foot into the bottom right-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner as the goalkeeper looks at it. And thinking that's a fucking goal, that, against Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home.
Yeah.
This is Stockport County we're talking about.
Yeah.
So just purely on the basis that it was a fantastic goal, fantastic strike against what I considered at the time to be a massive club, in a packed Molineux Stadium. That wins it for me. So they're my 3. So have you written them down, Nick, as our choices, or do you need
yes.
to
No, but send them to me after.
yeah.
What we'll do, we'll try and get something put together on YouTube. It's probably worth me mentioning we've got Pete Wilson doing. Nephew of Pete Wilson, who formerly did commentary with Richard Harmwell. He's been putting together stuff on YouTube for us. So he's got all the old podcasts on there. So what we'll do, we'll try and get these goals, the goals that make it into the final 32. We'll try and get them on YouTube so that people can actually have a look, because I think a lot of them will be on there, especially the recent ones that people will choose, like ones from the 90s onwards. I think they'll be on YouTube somewhere. So we'll dig them out. I won't be surprised to see Andy Priest against QPR make its way in there as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure once people have revisited that game on Saturday afternoon, I'm sure that'll come up.
Yeah, and do you know what? When I was thinking, there was 2 other close ones for me. Dickinson in the playoff final.
Yes.
Great build-up, great finish. We're talking about under pressure as well. Big occasion, so he's took that well. It's a great build-up, and what a ball from Paul Turnbull out to Pilkington.
Gerard
and the other one,
that was.
Yeah. And then the other one I had was Anthony Elding when we beat. Was it Walsall? We beat
in a row.
Yeah, the last one in the 9 in a row, and I just remember it was the cross, and I'm not sure he headed it or he might have kneed it or something into the goal from about 6 or 7 yards out, but it was just the fact that was the goal that clinched the 9 in a row. The Cheadlin was absolutely packed, and I celebrated that goal like we just won the World Cup or something. I just remember it. But
I'll tell you another one as well that gets overlooked because of the significance of it. But if you look at it as an actual team goal, the promotion goal at Chesterfield, if you actually look at that as the quality goal, it starts. There's like 3 touches from Paul Jones in net. I think he rolls out to Toddy, and he hits a ball with the outside of his foot, which goes down the wing and literally into Alan's path. He doesn't even have to break stride. I think he sort of changes his body shape and then puts it on Angel's head. And as a goal, it obviously was significant at the time for various reasons. But just take it out of the context of the game and just look at it as a goal. It's absolutely astonishingly good goal, that. And that sums up what kind of football we played at that time.
I'm a little biased towards those kind of goals, the team goals as opposed to the spectacular. I mean, you can't beat a spectacular thunder bastard or whatever, but yeah, there's just something about a team goal where 7 or 8 players will have a touch of the ball and it ends up in the back of the net.
The Hardiker goal against City is another one where
Carlton Palmer's finest moment.
Yeah, he just completely says see ya to whoever the City player was that he takes the ball off, and then it's like pass, bang, it's in the net. Yeah, I think you did right. I love those kind of things.
I don't think Carlton Palmer gets the credit he deserved as a player for us. I mean, that champion, the wins we did pick up in that half a season in the Championship that he managed us for, they were all. He was the main player in all of them. I think his first game was Watford at home. Yeah. And didn't Palmer score the winner?
Was it Norwich? No.
Norwich. Yes, Norwich. I knew it was someone in yellow.
I remember it being on telly. But I think the thing is, we've mentioned this before, but the standard of football you need to be able to play just to play semi-pro is incredible.
Yeah.
Take that up a level to play professional, even at National League or League 2 or whatever, is incredible. And Palmer gets a lot of stick because he played in a shit England team. But what do you mean by shit England team? It's international football.
Yeah.
We weren't great at the time. We didn't qualify for the World Cup. We had Graham Taylor managing, and we had not a great set of players, but bloody hell, it's international football. So you can imagine how good you've got to be even to just play badly at that level. And I think that was shown. He was a footballer, he really was, and he got some stick because of his gangliness and whatever. And the Dave Jones quote about he can trap a ball farther than I can kick it and all the rest of it. He played for England. I don't care what the England team was like at the time. He played for England.
He's one of many managers as well to have been hamstrung by what went on. I think you could argue. Well, I think Megson and Kilner were the first two county managers to be really hamstrung with what was going on in the boardroom.
Yeah,
and he gets a lot of shit. I know he didn't do the best, and then he came in November as manager, didn't he? And basically admitted that we were down already.
Yeah,
which didn't help really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was one of the first in a long line of managers that have just been shat on by the board and had no chance really.
Yeah.
But he always comes across as nice. He speaks very fondly of County.
Yeah.
When you see him nowadays, so fair play to him.
I think he's a decent bloke. That's the impression I get from people who've spoken to him.
I remember seeing him on Celebrity Come Dine with me. But he turned up with his cans of Skol and was absolutely hammered off 4 cans of Skol.
4? Bloody hell.
4. I know. Lightweight.
As a Tory, whenever I'm down in London and I find myself short of quail's eggs, I head down to Covent Garden to replenish my stock. And if I want eggs in Stockport, I head to @Covent Garden.
94 Lower Hillgate in the heart of Stockport Old Town. Come and visit @Covent Garden for quality breakfast and lunch, fantastic coffee, cakes, light snacks, and above all, a friendly place with great service. Open match days.
So, the year it's 1994.
Ooh.
Sidney Cook is still a few years off being paroled. Play the jingle, Russ.
Will do.
Go, Dave.
And we'll come out of it with this. Yes, it's Tea Party issue 31. If we do manage to get this up as a YouTube, there's the fanzine we're talking about, and it's the game. It's the fanzine which was produced directly after the game, which is being streamed this coming Saturday which is a third of the big streams that the club are doing. They did no, it's the fourth, isn't it? Because we did the game at home to Curzon Ashton when Spennymoor scored.
Yeah,
Then they did
Nuneaton.
the Nuneaton game. Then they've done the playoff final, and this Saturday they're doing the game between County and QPR from, as you say, 1994, was it?
Yeah, which I'm very much looking forward to because it was before my time, so can't wait for this.
It's incredible game, really. I mean, I think at the time, away fans had the Cheadle end, home fans had the Railway end, and some home fans had the Pop side. And I say some home fans because the Pop side had been condemned, I think, at the start of this season as a terrace. And so what they were trying to do was put seats in. And I think, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm prepared to be corrected by anybody who wants to give us the proper story, but I think by the time this game came along, we'd had concrete put in ready for seats, but I'm not sure the seats were in. I'm not sure, they may have been, or it may have been concrete, but I know I was in the Pop side because at the time I think I had a season ticket for the Pop side, and I was allowed to obviously get one for the Cup games as well in there. So I was in the Pop side, and to get to it, we had to go around the back of the Cheadle end. But I think for this game, something had happened, and some gate had failed, or some electricity, some fuse had blown, and we ended up walking across the front of the QPR fans, actually on the pitch, if you like, on the sort of running track between the goal and the wall, to get to the Pop side, and climbed in. So we're getting stick from these cockneys as we were walking past, and I was apprehensive because I thought we're probably going to get tated here. We were in League. What was the equivalent? Is now League One? Would we have been in?
Yeah, League One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Division 2. Yeah.
They were about 7th or 8th in the Premier League. Yeah. So they weren't pushovers. They weren't struggling that year. They were the highest placed London club, I think, and they were coming up here. And I thought we're probably going to get beat. I just thought we could put up a good performance. The pitch was rock hard because of overnight frost, and I'm amazed it got played, to be honest, because it literally was. It wouldn't take a stud, I'm pretty sure. It was really, really badly frozen, but for whatever reason the ref said, "Nah, it's okay. We'll play this game."
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid and there was a frozen pitch, the referee used to go and stick his keys into the turf.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, yeah.
I don't think we would have got anything into this pitch, but yeah, I'm amazed again. I'm surprised that it was played. But I think the scoring went, if I'm right, did Gavin Peacock score for them first of all with a header?
No, it was Barker.
Oh, Barker, right.
Barker with a decent. It was a volley from the edge of the box.
Oh, right. That shows
I watched the highlights before. Yeah.
Was it actually played at Edgeley Park, or was it at Loftus Road?
Definitely.
But then we equalised with a Kevin Francis goal, and I think was it Tony Barras was lying in an offside position. Yeah. So the QPR players had a bit of a whinge about that. But anyway, it was half time. It was 1-1, and then we won it with, I think we've already mentioned, a goal that I would expect to see in the 32 top goals ever contest. A volley from Andy Preece, I think probably from the right hand side of the area across the goal into the left hand corner, if I recall it, in front of a packed Railway end, and it was just such a fantastic goal. He met it on the volley, and it was an amazing goal right into the corner. And of course, we went on to win. So that explains the cover and quite a lot of the content within the fanzine we're talking about, which is issue 31. Not the greatest joke, and I'm sure a lot of people probably need it explaining to them anyway because it references Morecambe and Wise. So this is a real 70s cover.
But, I got it, Dave. It's all right.
It basically says Priest and Francis, best double act since Morecambe and Wise, and speech bubble to Kevin Francis, who do you fancy in the next round, Andy? And then he says, "Well, hey, Arsenal," which is what Eric Morecambe used to shout during the show. That's the extent of the joke. I'm sorry, but what do you want? There's a lot of content in here as well because about that game, obviously, because I think it must have been one of those ones where we dropped lucky and were able to produce a fanzine with a lot of content about a significant game just at the right time. So in other words, the game didn't happen after we'd put an issue on sale, so that it was stale by the time the next one came out. It didn't happen with not enough time for us to do anything other than crowbar in a couple of articles. It clearly happened about 10 days or a couple of weeks before this one went on sale, and we got quite a lot of content in there. A lot of stuff in it, which was literally just reprint of the press coverage we'd had the next day. I think we did about 6 pages of reprints of the various reports from the papers, including all the broadsheets as well as the tabloids. The Guardian, the Observer on the Sunday, the Guardian on Monday morning. But one of the things I did want to highlight with regards to that was that the Guardian predicted us to be quarter-finalists on the Saturday morning of the game. They basically said, I think I don't know why they did this, but whoever wrote that article must have thought all these Christmases had come at once when County beat QPR.
That's lefties for you, Dave.
Get to the quarter-finals. He predicted, hang on a minute, Arsenal, Blackburn, Leeds, Manchester United, Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton, Wolves, and County. That was his final 8.
Spot the odd one out.
I know, yeah. I'm not sure how they all went. I could do with checking really, but obviously, did we go any further than the next round? I can't remember. Was this the year we got Liverpool? Oh, we thought we were going to get Liverpool against Bristol City. Yeah. So I think we went one round further. We didn't get to the quarters, but that's what we'd been predicted.
Because this was about a year before I started going.
Right.
My uncle was a massive County fan, and I remember him saying, "Oh, we're going to get Liverpool. We're going to get Liverpool." Yeah. And he came round one day. I said, "Oh, did we get Liverpool, Uncle Paul?" He said, "No."
Well, it was amazing because the Liverpool game when Bristol City beat Liverpool, I think did Wayne Allison score a few goals or got a hat trick or something?
Yeah.
That was almost as big a shock as us beating QPR. Not quite, I don't think, because I think Bristol City were probably Championship at the time.
Yeah, a level higher. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd sold tickets on the basis of it being Liverpool, and there's quite a lot of stuff in the fanzine where people are moaning about the prices again because we'd clearly thought we can cash in here. So I'm not sure exactly how much we'd added to the normal admission cost, but it was clearly enough to get people up on the hind legs complaining about it. And it was all for nothing in the end because Bristol City won at Anfield and we played Bristol City. And I believe the game was actually beamed back to Ashton Gate as a live feed for them.
Right.
Which back in the mid-90s was a big deal.
Yeah.
It might have been the first time it had ever happened for a game we'd been playing in. But I think we lost 4-0. I think we got absolutely tatered in that game.
There's a few things I picked up on from reading this particular issue. There's a lot of anti-Jim Gannon stuff going on in the letters pages here.
Wow.
Why is Gannon even being picked when it's clear from his lacklustre performances he can't wait to leave the place? This was when he went off on loan to Notts County. And from looking at Wikipedia, it coincided with him having some personal problems.
Right.
From reading up on it today. So I think he played 2 games for Notts County, then came back, and the rest is history. But there's, I think 2 or 3 of the letters have got a fair bit of anti-Jim Gannon sentiment, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's a weird one because I think there was some. Yeah, you're dead right. I'd forgotten about the loan thing to Notts County, but funnily enough, I ended up with his tracksuit from there because somebody. I didn't get it off Jim himself, but Jim gave it to somebody who then gave it to me, and I think at the time there was a guy who did a Notts County fanzine who was also had a soft spot for County for us County, and I think I ended up passing it to him, so we ended up with a Notts County tracksuit.
But that might be the person who wrote in. There's a Notts County fan who wrote in on the letters page.
Yes,
saying he's starting his own fanzine.
That is him. Yeah. So
yeah.
he ended up with Jim's tracksuit.
I wonder that'll fetch a bit now.
Just Dave, can we just go back to the Bristol City match? Sorry, I've just something I wanted to pick up on.
Yeah.
And you referenced about cashing in on the Liverpool Liverpool tie if that came around, but it's Bristol City.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a cartoon strip in this edition.
Oh yeah.
Which caught my eye. Just wondered. I mean, I've read it. It's pretty funny. Who drew that? Is that something one of the guys drew, or did you plagiarise it, or?
No, it's a Bill Edge one. That Bill, who started the fanzine, who I think we've talked about in the past. That was one of his, and yeah, I know exactly. I did obviously photograph this and send it through to you guys. It made me laugh so much because the fact that he clearly just reused another cartoon from somewhere, because we paid him. I think we paid him 10 or 15 quid for each one we used, and right. He just repurposed ones, because if you look at the actual image shown. I'll try and put this on Twitter so people can see. He's not even tried to make it look like the same kind of text. The crucial cartoon is like third line, last frame. How come you could afford to go to the Bristol City county match? It's clearly just taken out Liverpool and put Bristol City over the top, which actually makes it even funnier. But yeah, that's one of Bill's. You can sort of tell by his style. And there's one little piece I just wanted to highlight as well. It's like a defence of Eric Webster, which is definitely worth reading. And I'll try and make this available as well for people to read. But it's by a guy called Jeff Lawrenson, who was a regular purchaser of the fanzine, and he used to come along with Martin Frost. And I think Jeff's had some health problems. Martin was telling me when he came in to be interviewed for the Tea Party podcast we used to do. So all the best to Jeff. But it's a really, really good article about one of the county stalwarts, one of the servants of the club who did virtually every job. And the cliche is, with Eric Webster, he was everything from groundsman to manager. And he managed us against Liverpool in '84, I think, when we had the 0-0 at home and the 0-0 at Anfield, and we were the first club ever to prevent Liverpool scoring in a two-leg game or something like that. It was some kind of feat that we'd achieved. And Eric Webster was the manager at the time. So great servant of the club. I don't think he's still with us anymore, but it's a nice little tribute that we printed to him there, which is worth having a look at.
Just one last one from me. I quite enjoyed the letter from the editor. Oh no, notes from the editor or something about your birthday.
Oh yeah.
So, was this you, Dave?
Funnily enough, I was photographing this to send to you lads before the podcast so we could gen up on it, and I genuinely thought about putting my finger over that bit so it didn't come through on the photo because it seems so petty-minded. No,
it's funny. It's funny.
And yeah, some things I put in here, and I have done over the years, that have made me cringe, and that's one of them. It was like I don't know, had someone rung up and asked for my birthday to be read out or something? Because '94, I'd have been 30 that year. And
but that's what it says. It says I'd like to wish myself a happy 30th birthday, and I'm sure I had a good time.
I've only ever had my name announced over the tannoy once, and it was when I was doing the fanzine. And funnily enough, it was when my wife was expecting possibly our second, third kid. I'm not sure which one it was, but she was heavily pregnant, and it could have happened at any time. So I went along. I think my dad was with me at the time, and I was expecting this call at any point, and it was before the days of mobiles. So I thought, I'm on edge. Can I stay for the game? Should I be going even? But oh yeah, okay, I'll go. But I'm out to rush away. And of course, came over the tannoy. Good Dave Espley come to the centre tunnel. All right, okay, this is it. So I think my dad sort of gave me a pat on the back, said, "Oh, I hope it all goes well," and all the rest of it. I went down to centre tunnel, and Ken Boxall just wanted to talk to me about some shite to do with the fanzine. And I'd gone there. I was white. I was thinking, have I been told? Is she stepping ill? Is it on the way? Oh, you said in the fanzine the other day that you. Cheers, Ken. That's the only time I've ever had my name announced over the tannoy.
I bet you didn't even have your pens and pencils ready either.
I didn't know. I had a safe journey home though to wherever I was travelling to.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
That's a good one. I must now we're in lockdown, I've got time on my hands, I will start to scan these properly, and I'll make them available on the fanzine Facebook page, which I think a lot of people are friends of, or whatever the Facebook terminology is.
You put them on the fanzine Facebook. I've started making an effort to put them on the podcast Facebook as of tonight. I posted a cover before, so all the relevant pages I will put up onto our Facebook, and we'll get them on the socials, and then hopefully make a page on the website for them, Russ.
Yeah. Fucking hell, give me some credit, Jesus. Yeah, we will do eventually.
You just look like you were falling asleep in the top corner of my screen there, so I thought I'd just rouse you for a second.
Well, what I'll do is it's funny because obviously we've talked about it. If we get this out in time, which hopefully we will tomorrow, before the game, people can listen to this in the morning of the game or after. And it'd be nice to get this out afterwards because it's almost like recreating what happened at the time that we had the game, we had the fantastic win, and then a week or so later this appeared. Well, I'll try and get this out scanned over the weekend so that people can watch the stream on Saturday and then have a read of the Tea Party to read all about what we said after the game.
That would be brilliant,
Yeah, good shout.
That's top social media content coming not only from the club, but from the fans as well. That's what you want from a modern, forward-thinking football club, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it, don't you?
I just wanted one point, actually, going back to that, because I meant to say it at the time, but it went out, but I'll make it now. Remember last time I was saying that this situation that we're all in at the moment has brought out the best and the worst in people. I think we mentioned it in relevance to the clapping of the NHS that was going on, and also the fact that certain companies were laying people off and others weren't, and all the rest of it. And I think social media, you mentioned before about how some clubs have really risen to the social media challenge, and County's one of them, with the streams of the games, with the best 11 and all the rest of it. And other clubs, like you say, not. So I've just said we're relaying the pitch, lads. And, have really not risen to the challenge at all. And I think it's a similar thing. We've seen the best and the worst of people with this situation, and we've seen the best and the worst of social media. And I think County are really, really up there at the top. I think we mentioned last time as well about some club had asked another one, did they want a game of Connect Four? And the other just said no. Which in itself was really, really funny. And to be honest, the no was excellent social media content.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's a weird situation we're in, but we are just seeing the best of certain people and certain institutions. We're trying to put a podcast out, even though it's been a bit fraught at the setup tonight, and I think we've managed it. We'll have managed at least 2, and more in future. And I just think it's great that people are making the effort to just carry on as normal almost, in whatever way, whether they're putting streams of games out, whether they're getting podcasts out, or whether they're just having a great time on Twitter. I'm
genuinely thankful to the club for what they've been putting out. Genuinely thankful to you two for being here to do a podcast still. Having said that, I still can't wait until we're all in the same room doing a podcast.
Yeah,
I think we're a few months off
that.
yet. But it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah. I'm quite happy.
I'm filling up.
That might have something to do with all the gins and rums, but I'm very happy. I'm delighted.
Nick's actually lying under the table at the moment.
Yeah.
He's gone off screen.
My missus is going to be sick of this when I go upstairs in a minute.
She can hear you from upstairs, can't she?
Oh, she's watching something on Netflix about some Jewish girl who leaves her family and stuff. So yeah, she's happy. My missus, not the Jewish girl.
Lockdown recommendations. What have you been watching?
Oh God, loads.
I watched Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
All right.
It's based on a comic book by the singer of My Chemical Romance. But it's a similar kind of vibe to Misfits that used to be on Channel 4, if you're familiar with that. But like superpowers and stuff like that. It's not normally. I'm not a big fan of superhero stuff, but yeah, the soundtrack's really good. It's cool. I've rewatched Breaking Bad. That's boxed off. So
Yeah.
I might start Game of Thrones again soon, I think. How about you two?
I've been watching. I had stuff stacked up on the planner from ages ago because I tend to record stuff, set a series link, and forget about it. And over the last couple of days, I've been catching up on a bit of that. And I watched Catch 22, the George Clooney version, which was on I think last summer, which I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I've just managed to find an online link to watch Threads from the 80s, which is quite.
I watched that going out at the time, as you'll not be surprised to hear.
Yeah, it's quite appropriate at the moment, so I'll be getting on that tomorrow, I think.
The most famous IMDb entry ever: women who pisses herself. Well, I don't know what it says. I think women who urinates or something like that, don't they?
Yeah.
And she's never appeared in anything else ever. Just there in IMDb with that one credit.
Typecast again.
Yeah. If you want a woman who pisses herself, she's your one.
Well, for me, we were meant to fly out to Orlando, Little Rock, then Orlando last Saturday, to go to Disney World. So to ease the pain, we got Disney Plus. So we've been watching the Marvel films in order that they should be watched.
That's my plan. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
My son's going to make me a list of the order in which you should watch superhero films.
Yeah, I've got
mainly
a list.
Because
if someone could send that list over to me, that'd be great.
I'll share it with you. But I recorded Man of Steel the other week off the telly, and I was going to sit down and watch it, and he said, no, don't watch that. He says, do you not remember? You picked me and my mate up from the cinema, and we were so depressed at how bad it was. Do you not remember that? And I do actually. I remember them being angry in the car because it was so
Angry
shit.
at how bad it was.
Yeah.
I went to see Avengers Assemble at the cinema with our kid, but I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. I've not seen any of the others, so I've started trying to catch up with the. I think I've watched Infinity War.
Yeah.
And
you need an order,
another
don't you?
one.
You need a recommendation for the order you watch them in.
Yeah, I need that desperately.
I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a massive superhero fan, but
No, same.
Wife loves it. But I do enjoy them because it's almost like disposable fun. But when you watch them in order, you do start to see it click, and you start to get the full story. Yeah. Whereas I was watching Iron Man 3 years ago, thinking, "Oh, it's a great film," but I can't understand half the references that are going on.
Well, I signed up to Disney Plus with the intention of getting boned up on all these superhero films, like knowing what's going on. And then I found that The Simpsons is on there, so that's me done. I'm currently on I'm watching series 1 to 12, like the golden era of The Simpsons. Yeah. Can't beat that.
Definitely.
Hank Scorpio, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, The Simpsons fell off a cliff for me as soon as Family Guy came out.
Yeah, I can go. But then again, Family Guy fell off a cliff for me as soon as Bob's Burgers came out.
As soon as what came out?
Bob's Burgers. Have you never watched Bob's Burgers?
No.
Yeah, I've seen Bob's Burgers.
It's on Amazon Prime, mate. Really good.
Oh, right, I'll have a look at that. What,
Yeah, cool.
adult animation?
Yeah.
Right, I will check that out. Yeah.
It's certainly a lot It's a lot closer to Family Guy than it is to The Simpsons, I think. Yeah.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And well, dear listeners, why not tell us what you're watching? we're not too bothered, but you might as well just tell us anyway. Cause
give us ideas.
To do. Yeah.
Do you remember another animation series about some Mexicans that were living in just across the border in the US? Was it in? I forget what it was called.
Oh, it rings a bell. I know what you mean. I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
It was so funny.
I can't remember what it's called now.
You might have to cut this bit out because I can't remember shit about this, but it was funny anyway.
Well, the listeners need to tell us, don't they?
There's some new thing on at the moment on Friday nights on Channel 4. Some animation. It's Amy Poehler, who was in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's involved in it. It's her and some of the people who are involved in The Simpsons. That's quite good. But it can't be that good because I can't remember the name of it. So.
Yeah, same for that Mexican one I'm thinking of. Fucking hell.
Is anyone watching Better Call Saul at the moment?
No. I didn't finish Breaking Bad, so there's no point in starting Better Call Saul.
I did finish Breaking Bad. And it's on my radar.
Well,
I do
it's
need
great.
to.
Yeah, well,
it's really good.
It's the only reason why I've not finished it is because my wife wasn't getting into it. So
Right, yeah.
I've got to really, set the time aside to watch something that we don't watch together.
That's what me and the missus are like with the county live streams on a Saturday. I love it. She just can't get into it.
Why not? What's wrong with her?
She's a fucking loser.
It's weird, isn't it? If someone had said to us like 4 months ago, there's going to come a time when you're watching basically replays of significant games on a Saturday at 3 and be really into it, and you're going to be on Twitter talking about it and commenting, hey, this, and then talking to your kids and saying, do you remember this? It's just bizarre, but I'm loving it.
Same. I think that'll do us for tonight, won't it, chaps?
Sounds good, yeah.
Yep. Right, let's wrap it up there. Been a really enjoyable, if not fraught to start with, episode. Hopefully the next one will go a bit better.
Pay your internet
in
bill,
terms
Russ.
of. Say again?
Pay your internet bill.
I know, yeah. I know.
Put a shilling
I won't go into the reasons. But literally, I've bought a new extender to the bar today.
Yes,
a
it's an
Wi-Fi
extender.
It arrived today, and it's just shit. Having said that, I'm on my phone now, tethered to my phone, and it's still shit. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, enough of that. Let's wrap up there. Really enjoyable. We'll get this out over the weekend, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, bye.
See you later.
Wash your hands, you scruffy bastards.